Part 107. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yun Suya. Chapter 1061. Chapter 1061. He actually wore the same clothes as that woman. As for Qian Yin's, the new singer popularity award is relatively stable. As for Liang Ye, it goes without saying that he should be able to get the new singer award and the golden song of the year. Your album broke the sales record. Several golden songs, very successful. Sister Wan closed the book and continued, it seems that everyone can win a prize this time, which is not bad. At this time, Liang Ye coughed and pointed to Sister Wan with his eyes. Sister Wan then noticed that she had forgotten Kuiyaki, so she quickly said, "Oh, I almost forgot. As for Kuiyaki, you have not been out for a long time. These awards, although there is no hope, some smaller awards, such as Singer of the Year, can be entered." "Yeah, I will continue to work hard, thank you, Sister Wan." Xia Ying glanced at Kuiyaki and smiled with satisfaction. She was worthy of being Liang Ye's apprentice. Both of them were extremely polite people. Although Xia Ying didn't know Kuiyaki very well, Liang Ye would take him to the company from time to time. In Xia Ying's impression, Kuiyaki was a shy boy, somewhat similar to Liang Ye back then. Part of the reason why Liang Ye liked him so much was because Kuiyaki looked so much like his old self. Arrived at the grand ceremony venue, Xia Ying and her company's nanny car pulled away, led by Xia Ying, followed by Qian Yin's, Liang Ye and Kuiyaki. Xia Ying's red outfit immediately attracted the attention of all the cameras present. The artists under Xia Ying's company are all popular singers in the entertainment industry today. Some people even joked that Xia Ying and his company Thornbird Entertainment hold up half of the sky in the music industry. In addition to being stunning, the female celebrities are only jealous. After all, she is the national goddess who has been crowned the national goddess for 2 consecutive years. Xia Ying's popularity and beauty are not comparable to those female stars. Xia Ying has not yet entered the entertainment industry. If she does enter the entertainment industry, it will definitely be her world. Look, Xia Ran is out. At this time, someone in the crowd screamed like this. Xia Ying and the others were still at the end of the red carpet. Before they left, the cameras were already focused on Xia Ran. Xia Ying was also stunned and looked back at the pair of slender white legs hanging out from the car. The next second, Xia Ran came out surrounded by a group of bodyguards and assistants. Xia Ran's makeup is full of beauty, and she looks like those evil concubines in ancient times who brought disaster to the country and the people. Xia Ran's eyes also revealed the arrogance of looking down on all living beings. When his eyes met Xia Ying, they became even colder. "I actually wore the same clothes as that woman," Qian Yin's muttered. "That's right, Xia Ran is also wearing red. It's just that compared to Xia Ying's body, Xia Ran's chest line is lower and more of her legs are exposed. The one worn by Xia Ying is relatively conservative, but the styles of the clothes are indeed similar, and they are all from the same brand." Xia Ying curled her lips and gave a disdainful sneer, "That woman did it on purpose. I originally planned to wear that dress. But it was because of Yu Lingfeng that Xia Ying chose this one because Yu Lingfeng felt that Xia Ran's one was too revealing. However, Xia Ran's piece does look better." End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yun Suya. Chapter 1062. Chapter 1062. What a terrible woman. Why doesn't Xia Ran wear the brand she endorses? Qian Yin's muttered. Sister Wan raised her eyebrows disdainfully and sneered, "Isn't this easy to understand? She did it on purpose. She deliberately matched Xia Ying's clothes. That dress was what Xia Ying planned to wear in the first place." Sister Wan originally accompanied Xia Ying to choose a dress, so she was very aware of all the processes, but she didn't expect that Xia Ran's methods would be so low. Wearing the same clothes will definitely be popular, and the one she is wearing has a great advantage. She just made a plan and planned for those marketing accounts to publish a wave of press releases about her beauty and Xia Ying's beauty. This Xiao Ran's purpose is too strong. In recent times, everything she has done is to compete with Xia Ying. What a terrible woman. Qianyins couldn't help but shudder, shocked by the little tricks played between women. As expected, women who can succeed in the entertainment industry have a certain level. He has finally seen it today. Fighting without gunpowder smoke is even more frightening. Not long after, the crowd began to discuss Xia Ying's clothes and Xiao Ran's matching clothes, and they were also discussing and comparing in low voices below, and the speed towards the cameras shooting them became faster and faster. Go first. Xia Ying's face was still calm, and she didn't show any uneasiness because of Xiao Ran. Xia Ying and the others sped up and left the red carpet. Xiao Ran raised the corners of his mouth, revealing a charming smile as if he was succeeding. Then, Xiao Ran followed Xia Ying closely. As Xiao Ran moved, the focus of the camera also moved. At the signature wall, Xiao Ran deliberately invited Xia Ying to take a photo with her in front of the media. Ms. Xia Ying, I like your music very much, can I invite you to take a photo with me? Xiao Ran's smile was so bright that it was dazzling, and when he smiled, the curvature of the corners of his mouth looked particularly deliberate. Xiao Ran invited Xia Ying in a loud voice, and the surrounding media immediately moved their cameras over, preparing to take a historic picture of the two goddesses in the same frame. Xia Ying smiled politely, I wonder which of my songs Miss Xiao Ran likes. Xiao Ran's face suddenly turned cold. For a moment, she really couldn't remember what songs Xia Ying sang. Let alone listen to her songs, Xiao Ran and all the employees in the company didn't dare to play Xia Ying's music in the company. Xiao Ran's assistant manager and bodyguards were not allowed to have Xia Ying's songs on their phones. Because Xiao Ran, don't allow it, she doesn't allow anything about Xia Ying to appear around her. Now, she wanted to take a photo with Xia Ying, but it was just to provide a photo material for her Yanya Xia Ying's press release. She said she liked her song, which meant it was very polite. Who knew that Xia Ying would suddenly, so you ask? Just, the new one. Xiao Ran still maintained his superficial demeanor and indifference, but his eyes were already looking for answers from his assistant. The assistant quickly began to search for Xia Ying, and then mouthed the message to Xiao Ran. Xiao Ran suddenly remembered that the new song Xia Ying had posted a while ago, which criticized mulberry trees and locust trees, had made her very angry. That's the song Sincerity. Xia Ying raised her lips and raised her eyebrows, this song is very suitable for Miss Xiao Ran. Xiao Ran's eyes widened and he clenched his hands. She knew it, she knew that Xia Ying's song was deliberately written to scold her. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yun Suya. Chapter 1063. Chapter 1063. Good-looking people look good in anything they wear. The corner of Xiao Ran's mouth stiffened for a moment, but it soon softened. Then he narrowed his eyes, looked at Xia Ying, and gritted his teeth and said, thank you for the compliment. Okay, let's take pictures. Xia Ying answered casually, and Xiao Ran was overjoyed. While she was constantly changing shapes, Xia Ying next to her just stood there calmly, turning a blind eye. Xiao Ran glanced at Xia Ying slightly from the corner of his eye. Didn't that woman think about how to add points to herself? Her clothes were already inferior to her, but now that they were taking a group photo, she looked like she didn't notice her at all. Humph, she hated Xia Ying's condescending look the most. Xiao Ran posed in several poses, and finally picked one that he was satisfied with. He smiled sweetly at the camera and said, okay, let's get started. Suddenly there was a clack, 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 clack sound. Xia Ying is worthy of being the national goddess for 2 consecutive terms. Her appearance is really not something to be underestimated. Although the clothes are not as good as Xiao Ran's, my appearance is really invincible. Sure enough, good-looking people look good in whatever they wear. Xiao Ran was stunned. What's going on? Why are you praising Xia Ying? She is obviously the outstanding one today. Her clothes are obviously much prettier than the ones Xia Ying wears. Her figure is not inferior to Xia Ying's, and she is dressed so today. Why is it still Xia Ying who is praised? Xia Ying glanced at Xiao Ran with her peripheral vision, then looked at her with half-squinted eyes. How about it, do you want to take a few more pictures? No. Xiao Ran gritted his teeth and said angrily, and then quickly fled the scene. Heh, what are you so proud of? When she gets the national goddess trophy later, let's see if Xia Ying can still smile. Sister Xiao Ran, do you want to change your clothes? After the assistant saw Xiao Ran and Xia Ying taking a photo together, his face turned black to charcoal. So I came over diligently and asked. In fact, when Xiao Ran first came up with this idea, his assistant did not agree. Although Xiao Ran is good looking, Xia Ying is recognized as a beauty benchmark in the entertainment industry. Because I studied music since I was a child, my temperament is also the most outstanding among the crowd. Xiao Ran and Xia Ying wear matching clothes, she will definitely be the one who suffers. Xiao Ran was full of confidence at first and was unwilling to listen to the opinions of the people around him. In addition, Xiao Ran had a bad temper. After they tried to persuade Xiao Ran for a few words and refused to listen, they did not dare to say anything more. Today's events prove that their original view was correct. Wearing clothes with Xia Ying will only bring humiliation to yourself. What do you mean? Xiao Ran growled with cold eyes. Even you think that little Xia Ying is prettier and sexier than me, right? No, Sister Xiao Ran, I didn't mean that. The assistant was frightened by Xiao Ran's sudden threat to raise the volume. She trembled and explained weakly. Bitch, Xiao Ran didn't listen to her at all and slapped her with a hot slap. The assistant staggered and almost fell down, but others helped to stabilize her. Then why should I change my clothes? Goddess Xiao Ran, please calm down, I just want to make her happy. Another assistant said to Xiao Ran in a weak voice. Then do you think I'm happy? Xiao Ran snorted coldly, and then walked towards the bathroom angrily. End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuan Suya. Chapter 1064. Chapter 1064. The older generation likes her very much. After taking a group photo, Xia Ying walked over to everyone. Sister Wang gave Xia Ying a thumbs up and said with a smile, excellent in strength. As expected of our boss Xia. Hey, when I was watching the red carpet, I thought the media liked Xiao Ran's dress more. Qianyan scratched his head and laughed. I thought Xia Ying would suffer a loss when she took a photo with Xiao Ran, but who knew that she would actually be slapped in the face? This is really interesting. Xiao Ran must be very angry now because he rushed to slap her in the face. Xia Ying showed a pleasant smile and analyzed, how is it possible? It will be impossible for a woman like Xiao Ran to surpass me in the next life. As for when she walks on the red carpet, the media cameras all go to take pictures of her, not because she is better than me stunning, but because she is willing to show off her flesh. I wonder which actress on the red carpet wouldn't be photographed if she dressed more elegantly. What's more, who is Xiao Ran, who is quite famous in her own right? I think Xiao Ran probably thought she was more stunning and prettier than me today, so she proudly came to me to take a photo with her. But in the end, she was carried away by the attention. She was so eager for success that she slapped herself in the face. Yes, you are right, I am really looking forward to how dark Xiao Ran's face will be now. Sister Wan laughed without hiding it. Okay, let's go and sit down. If we stay any longer, someone who wants to slap us in the face may come over and cause trouble. Sister Wan continued. Xiao Ying and the others took their seats, and at this moment, Xiao Ran, who was shutting himself in the bathroom, was watching the comments from netizens on the live broadcast on his mobile phone. Xiao Ran is so pitiful, he actually matched up with Xiao Ying. I have a second of silence for her. The funniest thing is that she went to take a photo with Xiao Ying without any self-awareness. Haha, doesn't she still think she will beat Xiao Ying? Oh, it's actually a pity that Xiao Ying didn't enter the entertainment industry when she was a child star in commercials. She was so cool and popular. Now my parents still have a loving face when they see Xiao Ying. The older generation people like her very much. That's not true. I, Sakura, have been someone else's child since I was a child. My parents often say that Xiao Ying is good looking, good at studying, and can also sing. If the older generation didn't like to play this trick, if they all came out to vote for Xiao Ying, how could Xiao Ran be so arrogant? A portion. The more Xiao Ran looked at it, the angrier he became. He was so angry that he almost dropped the cell phone he had just replaced a few days ago. Xiao Rang was just about to open the door and go out when he suddenly heard a few people discussing something at the sink outside the bathroom. Xiao Ran lowered his hand to push the door, his eyes darkened, and he continued to listen. Sister Ling Yu, I must say you are really unlucky. The role you originally got was actually snatched away by Xiao Ran. I don't know what she was planning. She has always played the heroine, right? Or, Sister Ling Yu, what's going on between you and Xiao Ran? Yaniao Na was touching up her makeup in front of the mirror on the sink, and looked at Xiao Lingyu, who had just come in next to her and was looking at the mirror, sizing up her makeup. When Xiao Lingyu heard this, she became angry and broke off her favorite lipstick angrily. She said with a sullen face and angrily, who knows what that woman's intention is? It's clear that we can have nothing to do with each other. I haven't seen her very often. I think that woman probably has a relationship with Xia Ying and is in the same drama with her on purpose. Requesting a monthly ticket. End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yun Suya. Chapter 1065. Chapter 1065 and beyond will be more exciting to watch. How do you say this? Yaniao Na paused for a moment. After smelling the gossip, she immediately stopped what she was doing. She opened her eyes wide and waited expectantly for Xiao Lingyu's next words. Humph! Xiao Lingyu first let out a dissatisfied snort from her nose, then threw the broken lipstick into the trash can. While washing her hands, she said slowly, "You didn't look at the previous few words. There was a lot of commotion on Tianwang." Xiao Ran was initially interested in the position of the heroine, but she didn't expect to compete with Xia Ying and was ridiculed by netizens because she couldn't get the heroine. My second female lead. If you look at today, who would believe that Xiao Ran and Xia Ying didn't match each other's clothes on purpose? Who doesn't know that actresses are most afraid of wearing matching clothes, so they always check what other people are wearing beforehand? It's better to avoid it. If Xia Ying is not in the entertainment industry, she will not collide with Xiao Ran. Therefore, it must be Xiao Ran who deliberately collides with Xia Ying. Although she is considered to be the top in the entertainment industry. She's a beauty, but I think she overestimates her abilities compared to Xia Ying. I guess she was confused by those press releases praising her. She really thought that she was descended from heaven and her beauty surpassed the whole universe, so she did this. What a stupid thing. Didn't you notice how much everyone laughed at her overestimating photo taken just now? Haha. Yaniao Na also laughed and said, "Sister Ling Yu, you see clearly." Xiao Lingyu glanced at Yaniao Na and said, "Of course, although I am not as popular as the younger generations like you, I have been in the entertainment industry for so many years. I have never seen the big storms and small troubles. You will still have a lot of fun to watch in the future." Xiao Lingyu had been dissatisfied and resentful ever since Xiao Ran snatched her role. Now that she saw Xiao Ran being ridiculed for his misstep, she was naturally happier than anyone else. That role was obtained by her crawling into bed. That old, ugly old man, she waited on him for so many days before she got a role as the second female lead. She, Xiao Ran, has such good resources, so why not play a bad role, but she has to compete with her for a supporting female role. Thinking about it, Xiao Lingyu couldn't swallow this breath. I've seen enough excitement, it's time to settle the score. At this time, a cold female voice suddenly came from the huge bathroom. This voice is very familiar to Xiao Lingyu and Yanniana. As soon as the sound came out, their hearts were in their throats, cold sweat was flowing, and their legs began to tremble. Xiao Lingyu even had weak legs and held onto the sink before she managed to stand firm. Subsequently, the bathroom door opened, and a pair of beautiful legs first came into view. Then, Xiao Ran walked out, with a pair of sinister eyes lingering on Xiao Lingyu. Xiao Lingyu's eyes widened and her lips trembled twice. Xiao, Sister Xiao Ran, I didn't mean it, Xiao Ran curled her lips slightly and showed an evil smile. Sister, I am only 19 years old. As far as I know, Sister Lingyu, you are almost 30. The smile Xiao Lingyu gave Xiao Ran made her whole body tremble with shock. Although Yanniana has never met Xiao Ran, she has heard that Xiao Ran has a very bad temper in private, and anyone who offends her will not end well. There were several unknown actresses who were talking about her in the bathroom before. When she heard it, Xiao Ran immediately blocked them. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yun Suya. Chapter 1066. Chapter 1066. Chapter 1076. This woman is simply terrifying. Yes. Xiao Lingyu had been talking endlessly just now, but now she couldn't even say a complete sentence. She knew that Xiao Ran liked others to call her sister. Xiao Ran's assistants and managers all called her that, so she just went along with it, but she didn't expect that she would ridicule her. Xiao Ran was approaching Xiao Lingyu step by step, her eyes becoming more and more bloodthirsty and dark. Xiao Lingyu didn't even dare to look at her. That woman was obviously only 19 years old, but the gaze projected in her eyes made her, a very sophisticated feeling. What had she gone through to have that look in her eyes? That look was not at all in line with the young girl she is today. You said, I was suppressed by Xia Yinjian. No, Goddess Xiao Ran, your heavenly fragrance and beauty cannot be compared to Xia Ying's. Xiao Lingyu started to flatter her. Although she didn't know if it was of any use, but no matter what, a dead horse was treated as a living horse doctor. Oh, you are really good at flattering me. Unfortunately, who knows what you will say about me in private after today. I can't do it anymore, I really can't do it anymore. Today is the last time, please forgive me. Xiao Ran approached Xiao Lingyu and lifted her chin with his fingers, so that she had to look at him. Xiao Lingyu was soaked in cold sweat and was trembling at the moment. Look at this face, you must have put a lot of effort into taking care of it, right? Xiao Ran smiled evilly and scratched Xiao Lingyu's face with the sharp nails she had made herself. Suddenly, a few streaks of blood flowed down Xiao Lingyu's face. Xiao Lingyu closed her eyes tightly, her eyelashes trembling, and she didn't dare to imagine the scene on her face at this moment. Yanniana couldn't stand it anymore and quickly stopped her. Xiao Ran, this is a public restroom. If someone comes in later, you won't be able to explain clearly with 100 words. Xiao Ran glanced sideways at Yanniana, and Yanniana was frightened by her stern eyes and took a few steps back. This woman is simply terrifying. Xiao Ran stopped his hand, then took out a tissue and wiped his hands slowly. Xiao Ran looked at Xiao Lingyu's face, chuckled, and said slowly and leisurely word by word, well, I say, Sister Lingyu's skin is too delicate, it looks good, but I only touched it twice, so why are you bleeding? This is really embarrassing. Xiao Ran covered his mouth and laughed out loud. Xiao Lingyu was so angry that she was trembling all over, but she dared not speak in anger. Hey, Xiao Lingyu, what's wrong with your face? At this time, an actress also came over to use the toilet. Seeing the blood marks on Xiao Lingyu's face, she was very frightened. There was also a pool of blood on the ground. Why did she end up with her face like this when she was just going to the toilet? Now everyone is basically seated and the show has started. Not many people come to the toilet, so Xiao Ran is so unscrupulous. Xiao Ran remained calm and composed, as if Xiao Lingyu's face had nothing to do with him. However, Xiao Ran was still looking at Xiao Lingyu with his peripheral vision, wanting to see how her smart mind planned to explain the scars on her face. I accidentally scratched it myself. Why don't I just come to the bathroom and wash it off? Xiao Lingyu spoke very quickly turned around and walked to the faucet, turned on the faucet, and washed the bleeding wound on her face. End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yun Suya. Chapter 1067. Chapter 1067. Do you hate Xia Ying? The biting cold water flowed at the wound, making Xiao Lingyu feel a stabbing pain in her heart. Xiao Lingyu gritted her teeth and tried not to let her tears fall, but her eye circles were already extremely red. Xiao Ran had just struck so hard that her face might be scarred. Thinking of this, Xiao Lingyu widened her eyes to prevent tears from flowing out. She will take revenge. She will definitely find an opportunity to take revenge. Xiao Ran ruined her face, she would not let her go so easily. Oh my god, there's a lot of blood. Why is the wound so deep? Why are you so careless, Xiao Lingyu? What if you go out and get photographed by the media later? The newly arrived actress said. Xiao Lingyu raised her head and smiled at her, an unusually pale and bitter smile that made others feel uncomfortable. For female stars in the entertainment industry, it is self-evident how important a good-looking face is. If the face is ruined, the stardom will be almost ruined. Let's do this. I'll ask my bodyguard to you to the hospital. You won't let the media take pictures. Your face is like this. If you don't take care of it in time, it will leave scars. At this time, Xiao Ran suddenly came forward and looked at Xiao Lingyu with a look of concern. People who didn't know it thought she was such a warm-hearted person. Only Yanniao Na was stunned. It turns out that the intrigues in the entertainment industry are no less terrible than those in palace dramas. At this time, Xiao Ran glanced at Yanniao Na, and Yanniao Na immediately panicked and had to respond, Xiao Ran is right, Sister Lingyu, go to the hospital quickly. I can't bear if something really happens, it's not good. No matter what, we need to stop the bleeding first. Xiao Lingyu's face is still bleeding out, and she looks very unbearable to look at. Xiao Ran, thank you. If it weren't for your strong team and good confidentiality measures, Xiao Lingyu wouldn't be able to hide her face. The actress, who knew nothing about it, even praised Xiao Ran. Xiao Ran smiled slightly and said, it's okay, it's just a little effort. Xiao Lingyu gritted her teeth, and a few feeble words popped out from between her teeth, thank you. When she said this, Xiao Lingyu didn't even raise her head to look at Xiao Ran. She will remember that woman with a hateful appearance and cruel methods for the rest of her life. After Xiao Ran arranged for Xiao Lingyu to go out, he deliberately walked side by side with Yanniao Na when leaving. Yanniao Na tried to speed up her pace, but Xiao Ran followed her calmly. Yanniao Na walked slowly, and Xiao Ran also deliberately slowed down and walked side by side with her. But throughout the whole process, Xiao Ran never said a word to Yanniao Na. Yanniao Na bit the bullet and spoke first, Xiao Ran, don't worry, I will be rotten in my stomach about what happened today. Xiao Ran smiled sinisterly and glanced at Yanniao Na's trembling little face. It seemed that she had scared her quite a bit just now. If it weren't for the family behind Yaniao Na, who was also a family with some status, according to her inertia, she must have dealt with it together. You are quite sensible. Xiaoran stared at Yaniao Na for a long time. Yaniao Na knew that Xiaoran must have something to say to her, so she stood still and asked tentatively, Xiaoran, do you still have something to say to me? Explain. Just asking you, do you hate Xia Ying? End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuan Suya. Chapter 1068. Chapter 1068. The Real Masters Hide Their Secrets. Yaniao Na was stunned. She never thought that Xiaoran asked such a question without any beginning or end. Yaniao Na stayed there for a while, without saying anything, just looking at Xiaoran blankly. What, you haven't thought about it yet? Xiaoran raised his eyebrows and snorted slightly, feeling very disdainful. No, Xia Ying and I don't have any grudges. Yaniao Na curled her lips and said slowly, Xia Ying is not in the entertainment industry, and there is no conflict with my interests. Okay, why should I hate her? Xiaoran stared at Yaniao Na with half-closed eyes for a long time, which made Yaniao Na's scalp feel numb. Okay, that's okay, just remember what you just said. After Xiaoran finished speaking, he walked forward expressionlessly. Yaniana was stunned in place, still thinking about why Xiaoran suddenly asked herself such a strange question. When Xiaoran first entered the entertainment industry, Yaniao Na was the most popular actress in the entertainment industry. She became famous instantly. Her acting career has been going smoothly since then, so her popularity has continued. Knowing that Xiaoran came out, she slowly took Yaniao Na's place. The question Xiaoran asked just now was just a test of Yaniao Na's personality. No matter what, Xia Ying is the one who stole her popularity. Because her eyebrows look a bit like Xia Ying's, she is often compared with her by the media. However, usually, Yaniao Na is the one who gets killed instantly. When Yaniao Na first became popular, she was scolded by some of Xia Ying's extreme fans, saying that she was only so popular because of her similarity to Xia Ying and her various outfits imitating Xia Ying's, completely ignoring her efforts. However, even so, she didn't hate Xia Ying at all. It can be seen that this Yaniao Na is just a lucky fool. I originally wanted to enlist in the army, but my brain was not working well, and Xiaoran felt that with a personality like hers, she would not be popular for long. I have no care at all. If I harm someone in the future, I still have to say thank you to them. Yaniao Na was still stunned in place, looking at Xiaoran's back. She silently took a breath. What happened just now was still vivid in her mind, and now that she thought about it, her whole body still trembled. That Xiaoran really has some tricks up his sleeve. No wonder he was able to defeat Xia Ying and rank first on the list of national goddesses in just 1 year after his debut. Before looking at her marketing on Weibo and press releases, Yaniao Na was really stupid and naive, thinking that Xiaoran was such an outstanding, kind, and caring person. But now it seems that she is just using various means to gain power. When Yaniao Na first came out, she became an instant hit. In addition, she comes from a good family. The outside world has always thought that she is a person with superb means and uses her family connections to get involved in the entertainment industry. In fact, she is an innocent person. Just people. It seems that the real masters are the ones like Xiaoran who hide their secrets. Yaniana had a class with Xiaoran today. After Xiaoran sat down, her agent asked her in a low voice where she had been and why it took her so long. Xiaoran remained calm, straightened his hair, and replied slowly and leisurely, I just went to the bathroom. At this time, Xiaoran found that Xiao Lingyu's agent and assistant, who were not far away from him, had begun to leave the table, and they looked panicked. It seemed that they already knew that something had happened to Xiao Lingyu. Xiaoran curled his lips and smiled sinisterly. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuan Suya. Chapter 1069. Chapter 1069. Excellent traditional culture is inherited by a middle school student. Xia Ying noticed that Jianyin's expression had not been very good since he had just sat down. He lowered his head and frowned, sometimes holding his head, as if he was meditating on something. Xia Ying patted Jianyin's on the shoulder. Hey, what's wrong with you? Do you have a headache? Jianyin's raised his eyes and looked at Xia Ying. Xia Ying noticed that Jianyin's eyes were already covered with red bloodshot eyes. He was not like this just now. Now Jianyin's looked like he was in great pain. Xia Ying panicked. What's wrong with you? Are you feeling uncomfortable somewhere? No. Jianyin's shook his head, interrupting Xia Ying's move to call Sister Wan behind her. Xia Ying turned back and looked at him. Then what's wrong with you? With such a miserable look, who would believe that nothing happened? Since the beginning, my left eyelid has been twitching non-stop. Xia Ying was stunned for a moment, then rolled her eyes. Who are you kidding? This is the reaction when your eyelids twitch. No, you have to know that the left eyelid is twitching. Jianyin's gave Xia Ying some science tips in a serious manner. Xia Ying just wanted to round her fist and punch him in the face, which made her panic, but it turned out that it was because of a twitching eyelid. Can this Jianyin's have such a weird cloth cover? Don't you already believe in my superpowers? What kind of superpower do you have? Xia Ying twitched the corner of her mouth. When will she bring you Lingfeng over and let this kid know how to write the 3 words superpower? No, something big is going to happen tonight. I'll go look at the stars. As soon as Jianyin's finished speaking, he stood up immediately, regardless of the singing and dancing on the stage. Hey, where are you going? Xia Ying grabbed Jianyin's and said, the awards will be given later. It's still early. I'll go out and take a look and I'll be back soon. Jianyin's left without any explanation. What is he going to do? Liang Ye, who was focused on watching the performance, then noticed that Jianyin stood up and left, so he turned to look at Xia Ying and asked. He went to tell fortunes. Xia Ying answered half helplessly and half speechlessly. He can also tell fortunes. Liang Ye seemed to have discovered a new continent, and he was stunned when he left. However, the point is, when Jianyin's doesn't go to fortune telling, why does he run out at this time? There will be an award soon. Jianyin's came outside the venue, found a quiet corner, looked at the starry sky and fell into deep thought. The more he looked at it, the deeper his frown became. What a bad omen. Jianyin's let out a long sigh, and from the looks of it, there seems to be no way to alleviate it. This is an unavoidable disaster. Jianyin's shook his head and went back, and then told Xia Ying everything he had seen and analyzed. Liang Ye also came over, dumbfounded as he listened. What the hell? Jianyin's can also read the stars? The excellent traditional Chinese culture was actually inherited by a middle school boy? Why does this sound so inconsistent? Liang Ye was already ready to laugh, but who knows, Xia Ying said with a straight face, are everything you said true? Liang Ye's smile froze at the corner of his mouth. Is this a rhythm that even his boss believed? Liang Ye was even more confused. Co-author, Jianyin's can really read the stars and tell fortunes? What can I say to you about this kind of thing? Look, my left eyelid is still twitching. Jianyin's is serious. End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuan Suya. Chapter 1070. Chapter 1070. The pointer reaches 11. Liang Ye held his forehead silently, his eyelids twitching. He really didn't believe it. But looking at the panic and fear on his boss Xia Ying's face, it was obvious that Xia Ying was serious. Liang Ye was stunned, thinking to himself, is he the only one who still has some sense? How on earth could such a shrewd and witty person like his boss believe that? Is something going to happen to you Lingfeng, or is it me? Xia Ying has already begun to do the elimination method. I don't know either. Qianyin spread his hands and said helplessly, I can only look at the good and bad fortune of the stars, but who are you talking about? I don't have this ability yet. What he said was factual and true. He also hoped that he would master that skill, but he didn't. What could he do? Qianyin's words made Xia Ying lose her mood to watch the show. Xia Ying picked up her phone and started to send a message to Yu Lingfeng, Yu Lingfeng, you must pay attention to safety tonight. Liang Ye frightened Xia Ying when he saw Qianyin's talking in a few words, so he tugged on Qianyin's sleeves and asked in a low voice, don't tell me, you are really a folk astrology master? Master oh no, don't you believe it? Isn't science and technology the primary productive force? I still believe in science. Astrology is also a science just because science cannot explain it for the time being, you can't deny its existence, right? Qianyin's explained in a straightforward manner, which convinced Liang Ye. Liang Ye thought about it and found that this was also the case. However, he looked left and right and couldn't see any connection between Qianyin's and the astrology master. Sure enough, people cannot be judged by their appearance. Yu Lingfeng was watching the live broadcast of the entertainment festival in front of the computer at this time. His phone lit up, showing that Xia Ying had sent a text message. Yu Lingfeng took the phone over, opened it, took a look, raised his eyebrows slightly, and replied, what's wrong? Yu Lingfeng had just clicked the send button when Zihu suddenly ran over in a panic, holding onto the door frame and panting, Master, Master, that Qian Yanjiu has come over again to challenge you. Yu Lingfeng put down the phone, stood up with a calm face, walked to 11 Ju, glanced at 11 Ju, there is nothing to be nervous about. But Master, he dared to come here after being beaten so badly by you last time. He must have hidden some secret weapon or some other means. It's okay, if he comes once, I'll hit him once, it's that simple. Yu Lingfeng walked around 11 Ju. After 11 Ju thought about it, it seemed right. After all, he was the master. Even if the other party really cheated, their master would still win. When Qian Yanjiu and Yu Lingfeng fought for the first time, he very shrewdly put a micro-tracker on Yu Lingfeng and tracked the location of Yu Lingfeng's castle. Now, he came here as soon as he wanted to. Yu Lingfeng thought, it's time to move. Yu Lingfeng was walking in the corridor at a leisurely pace. He inadvertently raised his eyes and saw the hands of his watch, which were already pointing to 11. This is not a good sign. The pointer has been moving faster and faster recently. Before Yu Lingfeng had time to find out the reason, it had already reached 11. After the pointer reaches 11, the watch will start to remind Yu Lingfeng to go home. At this time, his superpowers will also become disordered. Yu Lingfeng closed his eyes and breathed a sigh of relief. What did the message Xia Ying sent him mean? End of this chapter.